booties for black girl nerds.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm your host, Ryanne Bennett. This is season 2, episode 9, called Rule 1 of Batwoman. It's also the mid-season finale. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh my goodness, it's not coming back till April 11th. But for right now, we're about to dive into this episode because there was a lot going on, a lot of different stuff that you don't usually see from this series, in my opinion. So let's dive into it. All right, so we opened up with Kate Kane's funeral. Air quotes on that. So apparently we find out Julia Pennyworth has been with her team for a couple months now, trying to find out where Kate was. They found a skull bone that matches Kate's DNA. So everybody's in the conclusion, all her loved ones are at this funeral, in the conclusion that Kate Kane is dead. But we all know what's going down. We all know what's happening. So we also get Ryanne paying her homage to Kate Kane by, first of all, writing her a letter talking about how important. I always love how we get these moments of Ryan Wilder showing how important it is for her to be Batwoman, and she understands what it stands for. So I love that. And she also buried a plant. The plant, her go-to, her plant that she keeps safe. She's like her little baby. She planted. She buried in the or plants it in the Bat Cave as her kind of way to commemorate Kate as well. So we get that. Now, as we're kind of shifting, we still know there's a Kate Kane thing going on here, but we're kind of shifting to, we have a new villain here, and how Ryan and how these people surrounding her are going to deal with this. So what happens in the intro of here, the episode 2, as well as we see the commissioner of the GCPD. He has an encounter with the black woman that we're going to get back to. I feel like she's going to have a cool, little, unique, interesting twist to the season going forward. But we get introduced to her as basically calling the GCPD out. They have 4 killings of unarmed black men. Not paying attention to what's going on in the community, not taking responsibility. And he tells her, he's like, well, if you got a problem, this one is an elected position. If you got a problem, do something about it. Why don't you run? So I thought that was kind of an interesting twist, because there's always, especially in the time period we're in now with the grassroots organizations and, people wanting to defund the police. So, to be honest, we don't really get to see all these issues that much in this Batwoman world. So I think that is respect to a lot of the diversity that's happening in front and behind the camera, honestly. So I thought that was a cool little nice change up that this episode is going to take us to, about how do you handle what's going on in your society, the people that are in the gray area, the people that think things are black and white. Things are always not solved like that in life. So I thought there was a lot of cool messages going throughout this episode. But let's keep it going here. So we open. I'm going to go kind of follow the opening here. Also, you guys know I like to kind of break it up by character. So Ryan Wilder and Mary, we get to see a cool scene of them having sweet potato pancakes, which I definitely wish I had some, because they definitely look great in this scene. So we get to have that moment of them having these pancakes. We get to see that Ryan has really been there for Luke and Mary throughout them trying to deal with. It's been a month or so now since the funeral of Kate. So they've kind of had this moment where Ryan has kind of really been there for the Bat team and kind of pulled them up, because they're going through that realization, that Kate Kane is gone, and that pull that has on them. So we get to see them having the pancakes. Angelique shows up in the middle of them having the pancakes. So you're like, oh God, what's about to go down? What's getting ready to happen? And basically, she is there to say, she's had a change of heart. She wants to be with Ryan. She loves her. She wants to give up this life. Ryan's not fully buying it. So there kind of leaves, that for the later episodes. So we leave off there with that. So we go back to, and I love how we have this kind of parallel of both the teams. We got the Bat team where we got the Crows working, because what follows next is the commissioner is shot by the False Face gang. We very know, like, the snake bite false face gang that's also been going on throughout the story here in Batwoman. So they kill the commissioner, and now we get to do this side-by-side view of how the Crows are going to try to help solve this and how the Bat team is helping solve this. So I definitely love how they kind of show, like, this the way that was filmed, and two, kind of seeing them come to the same conclusion. Now that Sophie's pretty much in head, when Jake is off doing his own thing, Sophie's pretty much calling the shots here when it comes to, things going on in the city. So we realized from them looking over the footage that there's like 15 minutes or so of the footage mission. They can't figure out where the commissioner is and where he's disappeared to. But everybody does see that the city hall wall has been tagged, which was they find out which is done by Jordan Moore. And if you guys know, Sophie's last name is Moore. So I know I was kind of like clicking here like, oh, okay, well, what are they getting ready to do here? So I think this is so cool that they're branching out the Sophie story here. So we get to meet her sister. Jordan Moore is her sister, which I think is so dope that they're kind of giving more to her storyline, because we got the gist of it, but she was kind of playing off some of the other characters of season 1. It wasn't really about like Sophie's story. So I'm kind of interested to see where this goes for her. So we got her. We find out that it's Jordan Moore. Jordan goes to see Sophie, which is how Sophie's stories kind of starts to tie in here to kind of get some help because she knows that the false face gang is going to be looking for her. People have kind of put two and two together, realized that she was there at the crime scene and knows who killed him. We fortunately get a Batwoman interruption while these false face dudes come out of the woodwork, start trying to come after Jordan and Sophie. So we get her to come out of the woodwork, which is dope, to kind of save the day. And we also get this realization of, we find out that through Jordan's description of the guys that she saw, because there's this camaraderie between Sophie and Batwoman kind of working together on these different projects. So she tells Jordan, like, hey, you can trust her, let her know what happened. So we get a couple of the recognitions of the mask the guys want. We also now figure out through a bracelet that Jordan recognizes that Angelique was the getaway driver for this. So this takes us back to Ryan having to go confront Angelique, and she's like, look, I was trying to get out of here. They said if I did this one job, and I know what I was doing at first, if I did this one job, I was good, I was clear, I was out. And so it's like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? So, Ryan is like, she's on that straight and narrow. She's worried about the legacy of Batwoman. She's like, look, I can get Batwoman to help you, but I need you to go ahead and give up who these people are and get right, come out of this. So, and this news travels back to the Bat team. They kind of figured out what's going on. And I love this moment because it's finally the Bat team trusting in Ryan to do what's right. Especially Luke, because Luke has definitely wavered a little bit off. Mary was a little bit, she had some kind of ideas going throughout the episode. I wasn't so for, because I was like, come on, Mary, you always been on the Ryan Wilder team. But they kind of give her this choice of like an hour, give Angelique an hour to go ahead and to get right, to come on and confess before they turn her into the police. Because, Ryan don't have any time for that. She's on the straight and narrow now. She's Batwoman. She don't have any time for this, playing with the law and that kind of stuff. So that's also weighing on her. So we end up getting a very cool moment, coolish, where it's like Angelique finally has Batwoman ends up being right, or Ryan ends up being right about Angelique. When Angelique go ahead and she confesses that she's going to give up the guys who did this at the False Face Society. But Angelique ends up getting taken by the False Face Society before Batwoman can come and save her. Because, by the way, Ryan reveals that she knows Batwoman. And so at first I thought she better say she was Batwoman. I'm just like, oh God, here we go. But she just revealed that she knows Batwoman. The Batwoman was coming to save Angelique, but Angelique is gone because she gets taken by the False Face Society. So I definitely love how, they're kind of mixing this up more, where it's more about Ryan. It definitely feels like more her story, more the people that are in her circle. So we get a lot of that. So I want to kind of jump to real quick as we kind of wrap up Batwoman's story a little bit here. I want to jump to Alice, because Alice was going through something in this episode as well too, but it wasn't the typical Alice that we see. She was basically trying to learn how to cope with her grief throughout this episode. So we see her in the house in the basement where she was kidnapped as a little girl. Why does she keep ending up back in this place? I do not know. When I tell you, I would get as far away from this place as anything, like Jesus. But anyway, she's back in this house and she's hallucinating that that a little girl is there with her having tea, which the little girl happens to be Kate. So we get to see the power of the mind here, right? Alice has always had that strong mind where she can imagine all these things come out that she imagined. So it's basically just her story wraps up in a neat little bow of basically realizing that she doesn't know how to deal with grief. And she comes with the conclusion that she's just going to have to learn how to forget Kate, because, she's in a lot of pain right now, not being able to see her sister, knowing her sister wasn't ever there on the island. So that's pretty much Alice's story, which is very interesting. A lot of, talking about mental health these days and getting to see, like, how far she's going to take it. And is she going to realize that she needs to find a better way to deal with grief? So stay tuned on Alice. That was Alice's story here. I want to talk about Jake and Julia as well, because Jake and Julia have a moment where, Jake, his daughter, as a father, I cannot imagine, like, his daughters are going in so many different directions that he has no idea what's going on in their life on any given day. So he's not, he's still not buying the whole, there was a report that said there's a weather accident that actually caused the plane to blow up, because, the whole Sophia thing has been put out of the mix. So he's not buying it. He's like, look, and Julie's trying to get him to let it go and to, find a different way to deal with his grief. But he's like, look, I want revenge. I want to find these people that did this to my daughter. So help me find this out, or help me prove that, if you can prove that this really was a weather thing, then I'll let it go. So that's where he's at right now. And we also get to see Julia making a call about this plane later on in the episode. And we realize that when she makes a call about this plane, we realize it was somebody that called and impersonated her. So this could lead to a more of like how they're going to try to start inching back in to people that Kate Kane really isn't dead. So that's going to be very interesting going forward. So we do get that aspect of it all. Okay, cool. Let me also, before I wrap up Batwoman's story here, let me talk about the new villain. We have a new villain who is the head of the False Face Society called Black Mask. And apparently, just to give you a little gist of his story, he is pissed off because the Crows put his daughter in jail. And then Batwoman, when it was Kate Kane, killed his daughter. So that's kind of explaining his motivation and how he's going to keep coming after Batwoman and you know, his anger with the way things are run in Gotham. So we kind of get that a little bit there. I'm going to come back to one more villain too I want to touch on as we kind of wrap up everything. But okay, so right now with Batwoman's story, we're dealing with Angelique has been taken by the False Face Society. Of course, Batwoman is going after her because she knows what's going down. We get to the thing. This is where her first encounter was Black Mask, and he has them tied up to these conveyor belts with the saw getting ready to chop off their heads and everything. It's crazy. But before that, we do get a cool scene where Batwoman is surrounded by a lot of the False Face Society. And I wanted to point this scene out too, because you guys know I love a behind the scenes moment. So if you guys check out CW Batwoman's IG page, you can get the behind the scenes look of Javicia Leslie fighting with this, learning how to train with this bow. So I thought that was kind of dope that they put that in there. So we get to see her handling all these dudes with the bow. She takes all of them down. But then again, I say she gets caused by the Black Mask, where she's tied up and everything. But Sophie, thank you for a crow that you can count on, comes through and saves Batwoman, gets her off there. So they get Angelique. And it's basically come down to they need to protect Angelique from, the False Face Society so they can get, because she knows she's going to be part of the plan of helping to nail the Black Mask. So, but we're not quite done with Angelique here, which we kind of get to a little bit of sad realization here for Ryan as we kind of wind down here. So Angelique comes face with Sophie, and Sophie's like, look, all you got to do is give me these names. I can get you a lesser sentence. I could probably even get you out of here. But she's like, look, I'm not going to give up these names. I was the one that killed the commissioner, locked me up, take me to jail. And we later find out the reason she did this is because the Black Mask threatened Ryan Wilder. She doesn't know Ryan Wilder is actually a Batwoman and can handle herself. So Angelique has taken a fall for this crime of killing the commissioner. Who knows what's happening to prison, how long she's going to be in prison. But that concludes the love story between Angelique and Ryan. So we'll see if that ever comes back or where that's going to go. So that is pretty much the end of that. For Batwoman, though, is not quite the end of her story in this episode. And I love pointing this out. And this is where rule number 1 comes from, the title of the episode. We get to see the Bat team back together in the Bat Cave. And she kind of goes around. She started to learn, okay, how this is going to work at her in the bat suit, what she wants to do. And this also comes from Jordan Moore, Sophie's sister, pointing out to her, hey, we got all these different law enforcement, all these different entities in Gotham that are trying to act like they're trying to save criminals. But what are you doing next? Like, what's next? What's keeping people from ending up in these positions? People in foster care doing bad things because there's nobody to understand them. All this stuff gets pointed out to her. So she says, look, I want us to go by 3 things. I want us to always be there to support each other. And I want accountability. And the number 1 thing is her legacy. So that was the number 1 rule, is her legacy, meaning she wants them, as soon as they get these bad guys off the street, she wants them to do something where they're giving back to the community, something where they're making things better. And so she wants to help Jordan with her. Jordan said she wanted to start a community center. So that's what Batwoman wants the Bat team to do, is to help her start a community center and work through that. So I thought that was really cool that turned out to be her number 1 rule. And I love seeing her take charge of this Bat team. We're hoping to keep this going. Everything that's coming out of this and seeing her being able to really drive this show forward is what I hope going into the second part we really get to see. Although we know there's always going to be that Kate Kane lurking in the back because we know she's coming back. Speaking of Kate Kane, though, let me go ahead and wrap this up real quick. There was another villain, Enigma, that's coming back. And by the way, Enigma you can see in the Teen Titans comics if you want to kind of get some comic research done on her while we're on this bat break, so to speak. So Enigma is known as the Riddler's daughter in the comics. So we are bringing her back here. And so it'll be interesting to see, they haven't really played the Riddler a lot in Batwoman. So it'll be interesting to see if that's where they're going to go with Enigma. But right now we know that she's going to do something to completely erase Kate Kane. That's what she says, her words. She says bye-bye to Kate Kane. So we're going to see what she has coming up, what she has up her sleeve, and how she's going to play into these new set of villains that we got. But that's all I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed episode 9. Let us know your thoughts and your opinions on this. Hopefully you go check out some behind the scenes contents and everything. Subscribe, follow us. And, hopefully that'll be enough to keep you busy till April 11th. And then I'll talk to you then. Bye, guys.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.